let's talk about the biggest game of the NFL season, the Super Bowl, the Chiefs versus the Eagles, a rematch of 2 years ago. Riv, how are you feeling coming into this matchup?
Honestly, I just feel like this Super Bowl lacks energy. Maybe it's because
of the trade. It's the Luka trade, bro.
Maybe it's because
really
of the trade deadline of the NBA, how it's kind of took the fizzle away. I'm excited. Listen, I've been war ready since we beat, the Commanders. I've been excited, ready to go. Saquon Barkley, shout out to him. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Just won AP Offensive Player of the Year. It was never a doubt in my mind. He's been the best offensive player in football, best running back in Eagles history, best running back in NFL history in my eyes. Just one of them dudes. Had the best season in NFL history by a running back. This dude is just a special talent. Thank you, New York Giants. I'm ready. Listen, I know what Kansas City is going to bring. Do you know that Vic Fangio has actually never beat Patrick Mahomes in his life?
Like 0-7?
Yeah,
right?
he's
But
like...
that's really not an indication of how well his defenses have played against him.
No, that's a fact. And he has some different dogs out here right now. You got Quinyon Mitchell, you got Cooper DeJean, you got Jalen Carter, you got Nolan Smith, you got Zach Bond, CJ. You got all these dudes, Darius Slay. I think we're built a little bit different than 2022. I think our defense is so much better. I think defensively we provide a different physical nature that brings back that old Philly, that Brian Dawkins day. That's the vibe we get back right now, where we're just physical. We hit you hard. We come to play. We're together. And I think at all phases, we really do well. On the defensive line, we're great. Our linebackers are really good. Our safeties, our secondary is really good. And even when we lose a guy, you can see our depth show in. Burks came in as a linebacker because we lost Nakobe Dean for the playoffs, and he played really well last game. Milton Williams has been a elite player for us this year.
Oh, yeah.
I just think right now we're looking at this team and we're thinking the only thing that can hold it back is if the passing offense isn't on the same level. And I think what you saw from that game against the Washington Commanders, that this offense can move, this passing offense can be great. It's just, can Kellen Moore call a good game? I've been on record saying that was the best game he's called all season, just in terms of the different routes he was able to run, the different stem trees he was able to do out there, the different plays he had. Just being able to put Jalen Hurts in good positions to be successful, just being able to get Jalen Hurts on the move, getting Dallas Goedert in, getting Devontae Smith in, A.J. Brown in, and that was with Saquon Barkley not having it. He had the big run that kind of set tone for the game. Had about 100 yards. Of course, he does that in sleep. Didn't really play too much because he had a bit of a nagging injury that game. The Chiefs are a different breed than the Commanders, though. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Travis Kelce. They have Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie. This offense and this defense has now beat the Bills, who was a team we thought would be really, really good. They beat the Texans. This team has lost one singular game all season. It's unfortunate that they're going to have to lose their second game at the Super Bowl. And I do truly believe that the Eagles will win. This is a different vibe, different energy. We have Saquon Barkley. They have not met a beast like Saquon Barkley. I get it. They played Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the king. He is a different vibe. But they have never played a combination of this offensive line with a running back this talented, along with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts playing well. So I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning this one. You're not going to beat us twice. Kick ass, Patrick Mahomes. That three-peat is going in the mud. Dels, let's do it, baby.
So now I know that you went on your little spiel here. I like it. But to have some organization here, what do you guys want to talk about more? Do you guys want to talk about the Chiefs offense versus the Eagles defense, or the Eagles offense versus the Chiefs defense?
Shit, fuck it.
Fuck
Eagles
you.
offense.
Fuck
Talk
you.
about Jalen Hurts against Spags.
Let's talk about it, because I think that's probably what's going to be the matchup of the game.
Didn't he cook him already?
He did.
In the Super Bowl, yeah, 2 years
He
ago.
tried him.
Barbecue chicken.
I think last time they played, he threw an interception and took 4 sacks, though.
And they won.
They did, yeah, because MVS dropped the ball.
He's not good.
Yeah, he caught it in the AFC Championship game.
He sure fucking did.
No, I think this is the biggest matchup. I think this is the biggest matchup of the game, and I think this is what's going to dictate the game. Number one is really, how are the Chiefs going to be able to stop the run? I know what you just said about Saquon Barkley being amazing in the offensive line, but last year against the 49ers, they had the number one ranked rushing offense in the league, and they kind of shut down the Niners rushing offense. The year before, the Eagles had
Miles Sanders,
an elite rushing offense. The offensive line was better for the Eagles then too, and the Chiefs found a way to shut them down. They're coming off of 2 games where they haven't been good against the run, so it's very easy to say, they won't be good against the run in this game. but they've played 18 straight games of not allowing a 100-yard rusher. So I don't know if they're going to dominate the ground like that. I think the number one priority for them is going to be ultra aggressive, and the Chiefs' run defense has really been great all year long. If they can stop the run, I feel really comfortable about the Chiefs' chances on those passing downs.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen won MVP? Okay, we'd have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. Let's go, baby. Yes. Let's go.
That is crazy.
I just tweeted, no.
No, isn't it crazy how he won first team All-Pro and didn't win MVP? He made first team All-Pro.
That happened with Brady and Rodgers, did it not?
Probably did. Because I think there's a difference, though, because All-Pro is basically you had the best season, but MVP is most valuable season. So there's like the distinct difference, but we'll talk about it after we talk about this game for sure, because that's interesting. Now, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts has been really good in these areas, and I want to highlight this. Hurts leads the NFL with 9.7 yards per attempt against man coverage. The Chiefs play man coverage at the 10th highest rate in the NFL, and he's completed a league high 76.1% of his passes against disguised safety shells this year. So he's been good at that. He's been good at getting the ball out when defenses disguise their coverages. But here's where the Eagles' offense kind of scares me. The only offense that had more third down attempts this year was the Cleveland Browns. The Eagles have a poor third down avoidance. 49% of their new set of downs, they were forced into a third down, and that was against the easiest schedule of defenses this past year. So I think a team that is constantly in third down situations against one of the best third down defensive coordinators and coaches in the NFL, I think could be some trouble. Jalen Hurts, when pressured this year, 37th in EPA per attempt, 37th in success rate out of 37 quarterbacks, 33rd out of 37 quarterbacks in sack rate. And last year, he ranked top 10 in those stats. So I think it's more of a scheme thing. And he's also been holding on to the ball. He has the second highest pressure rate this year with the 6th ranked offensive line in the NFL. And on zone blitzes, Spags, he's number 1 in pressure rate. He's number 2 in yards per attempts allowed. And Jalen Hurts against zone blitzes this year is 17% sack rate, which is the worst in the NFL. He's taken 10 sacks against those zone blitz looks. So I think the name of the game for the Chiefs is stopping the run and sending these exotic blitz look pressures. And Jalen Hurts handled that really well 2 years ago. But I think that the Chiefs secondary this year is better equipped to just hold up in the back end with the ascension of Trent McDuffie and with Jalen Watson now back and Justin Reed at safety. I think he's played really well in covers this year and against the run. But that's the name of the game for the Eagles. I think the Eagles, if they can run the ball effectively and if the Chiefs are playing a lot of man coverage, they will make the Chiefs defense pay. And I think that's the name of the game right there is just, can Hurts play a repeat performance of how he played against Washington? I think that's what we're all looking forward to seeing. The big game is this Sunday, Chiefs versus Eagles, a rematch of the 2022 Super Bowl. And PrizePicks, they have a free square for this big game. Do you want to know what it is?
Talk to me. I hope it's a good free square because we've now noticed that free squares aren't free anymore because some players really don't get it.
Well, I think this is an actual free square because it's the greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes. He just needs one passing yard and you win. If you guys want to use this free square this weekend on the big game, go to PrizePicks, use it, use code PAS and play $5 to get $50 if you want to have some fun on the big game, and it also helps support the podcast.
So Next Gen dropped these stats. Jalen Hurts completed a league high 76% of his passes against disguised safety shells, man.
Yeah. I think that
the Chiefs do it 45% of the last 2 playoff games.
Yeah, so I think there's like a little bit of a change of philosophy in this game where the Chiefs, they're a heavy dose of man coverage team. Jalen Hurts has been excellent against that, and he's been excellent against disguised coverages, and the Chiefs run a lot of that. So it's kind of, I'm kind of wondering what Spags is going to do.
Yeah.
Is he going to leave his corners on islands? Are they going to play more zone in this game? Are they going to disguise less? Those are all things I'm looking forward to, but it all starts with stopping the run first.
Yep.
Like, they have to stop the run in Saquon Barkley.
So, wait. Did you say who was winning?
No, you actually
No, I didn't give my prediction yet. I'm just talking about the game. I'll give my prediction.
Here we go. Normally we just give predictions, but we're talking about Eagles offense versus Chiefs defense, then Chiefs offense versus Eagles defense. Then we're gonna give our prediction.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
Very poetic.
And listen, Riv, this is the biggest game of the year. You know what I mean? This is a Super Bowl.
I don't sweat, man.
I don't know if it's just because of the trade deadline. I don't know, but I agree with you. This does not feel like the Super Bowl is in
just
3
wanted-
days.
This is just the ending of the.
I guess
Shout
that's
out to
what
the
it is.
NBA. That makes me excited for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. But no, this is the matchup of the game. This is the matchup of the game. It's how does Jalen Hurts look like against Spags' defense? How does the pressures that he shows, the disguises as we've mentioned, the defensive personnel that the Chiefs have, how does that all match up with Philly? Because for the majority of this season, it really does not matter who Philly has gone up against. They've been able to do whatever they want offensively, and a lot of that has been on the back of Saquon Barkley. And when you're able to run the ball that effectively, it opens up so much for your for your passing game. And even with that being said, there still has been struggles in the passing game. I think that Commanders game is a lot of momentum that the Eagles needed to go into the Super Bowl. Even though you had that week off, I think being able to go back and go and look at that film, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? The fact that your most previous game is arguably your most successful passing game of the season. I think considering the stakes that was it, the NFC Championship game, it was probably easily the most important game of the season for Philly, and specifically that passing attack. When it comes to Spags and Jalen Hurts, we saw in 2022, we talked about it in the past, they sold out against the run. They sold out to stop Miles Sanders, and because of that, Jalen Hurts had one of the best games in Super Bowl history, probably the best game in a loss in Super Bowl history, up there with Tom Brady's loss against the Philadelphia Eagles a few years prior. But he was able to really get whatever he wanted in the passing game. I mean, there was guys running wide open, but he was making plays out of structure. He was hitting tight window throws. He was throwing with anticipation. I mean, think of the deep ball to A.J. Brown. That was more than A.J. Brown, but one of the best catches you'll see in any NFL game just from a tracking perspective. But one thing that I've learned from Jalen Hurts, I've learned a lot of Jalen Hurts throughout this season. I've learned a lot of good. I've learned a lot of bad. The one thing that I've learned from Jalen Hurts over his last few years, he's a big game quarterback.
Yo, you're back.
He's a big game quarterback.
You just let him in so easy.
You let Luka go into the Lakers really turn you into a dick rider, and that really turned me off about you because you was always a man that stood on business. I ain't like that.
Guy of a team, fan of a team gets a top 3 player in the world. He likes him now.
He wasn't top 3 when you got him, though.
Yo,
He became top 3 after.
yo, Dels, talk, bro. I'm listening to you.
Jalen Hurts is a
How's
big
it
game
taste?
quarterback.
Tastes amazing.
He's
my
a big
God. I
game
love
quarterback.
it.
If we
It's
want to
big.
go back to 2022, that first couple of games in the divisional round in the NFC Championship game, he didn't do shit. But he didn't have to do shit. They were up 30 points in those games at halftime. Brock Purdy gets
Give it
hurt.
to
You
me.
played the fucking Giants. You didn't have to do anything. You went up against Kansas City
losing me,
Chiefs.
Riff.
You need Jalen Hurts to show the fuck up. He showed the fuck up. He put up 35 points going up against Spags in that defense. He did everything in his power to win that game. He left the field with the game tied. Fortunately, other side of the ball for Philadelphia just not show up. They left 38 points, and that's how
not
they
gonna
ended up
happen
losing.
again, Dubs.
This season, first 2 games, although they needed him more than in 2022, he didn't have his best moments. I think specifically against the Packers, it might have been his worst game of the season. Or excuse me, not the Packers, the Rams. That might have been his worst game of the season. All of the sacks he
leg.
took.
The Packers game, the first time was pretty bad.
Yeah, true. But given the stakes, second round, the playoffs at home, the magnitude of that game, all of the sacks he took, I cannot.
Just not giving him a pass for being perked up. Like, it really is blowing my
He was
mind.
fucked up before the perks. He was not playing great. But the way
A.J.
Jalen
Brown,
Hurts
whatever.
responded in the NFC Championship game, again, against the worst defense, I get that, and the Commanders, big game quarterback. When the pressure is on, when he's got to make a play, he has shown in the biggest moments to be able to do that. I think this Eagles offense is going to have success. I do not think as great as Spags is defensively as a defensive mind, as great as the talent the Chiefs have on defense at all 3 levels, but specifically when you have Chris Jones, when you have Karlaftis, I do not think there is anything you can do to slow down this run game. If Saquon Barkley is going to have open holes and he's going to have gaps and he could average 5 yards a carry, this passing game naturally is going to get open. And I trust Jalen Hurts in those moments to make the plays, so I do think they'll have some success there.
Yeah, if you get a gap open and it's 1-on-1 with Saquon Barkley and a safety or a corner or a linebacker, that's a touchdown. House call. Even the linemen know. Yup, they point. They know what it is. It's TD.
Now, the biggest difference in this game between the two teams is the gap in the run game. The Chiefs' run game is not great at all, and the Eagles' run game is the best in the league. Saquon Barkley has been otherworldly this season. Riv, you talked about it all year long. Your best prediction, Offensive Player of the Year. We just signed it up. Is 30 yards away from the best rushing season in NFL history. And against this Chiefs rush defense that over these last 2 games, I watched Joe Mixon have a revitalization to the run game and him have a pretty solid performance. But I watched James Cook arguably be the best player on Buffalo and run all over them. Now, you're getting a notch above. You've progressively you're going up against better talent. Joe Mixon to James Cook to now the cream of the crop in Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is going to do whatever he wants. And if they want to really stop this run, it needs to be 2022 all over again, where they completely sell out against the run. And even still with that, it may not be enough to stop the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley. That is where the separator between these two offenses and the game plan as a whole is for me. Saquon Barkley is going to dominate this game. If the Eagles were to win this game, I think you still need Jalen Hurts to be great. There's no doubt about it. But Saquon Barkley walks out with the Super Bowl MVP. Jalen, I still think, will have a great game. I think, like Joel mentioned, he is a big-time quarterback. When you need him to make plays, he does that for the Eagles constantly. But if the game script fits a Saquon Barkley game, he is more than okay to say, here you go, Saquon, take us to the promised land. He has been one of the most unselfish players in the league, and last week when you needed him to step up, he was the best version of himself. Against the Steelers, when you need him to be the best version of himself while Saquon Barkley was down with injury, he was the best version of himself. Anytime he's been doubted, he has stepped up to the plate and hit a home run. Issue is on the opposite side. You're going up against the demon. And that demon is right now on pace to be the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. That's where it gets scary. And if we're just going to stick to talking about that Eagles offense versus the Chiefs defense, I still think the Chiefs defense will make a play. Because every single Super Bowl, they make at least one play. And whether it's Chris Jones coming up the middle and getting to Brock Purdy and making him uneasy, whether it's Nick Bolton getting the fumble on Jalen Hurts and getting a touchdown, they'll always do a play. Whether it's going up against Josh Allen and stopping him on 4th down, whether it's going up against Josh Allen and getting pressure in his face, forcing him into a difficult throw, although I think Josh Allen did make a pretty great play regardless of that, the Chiefs are always due for a big play. I think that is what we're going to see here in the Super Bowl. It's going to be an unbelievable performance by both teams. I think we're in for an all-time game. I think it's going to be an all-time game. But, man, this is a different Philadelphia team. I think it's really going to be the Chiefs' toughest test to date.
I think the Eagles are phenomenal, and the run game, they've been great all year long. There's something about the Chiefs and in these moments that Spags just has the perfect game plan for. Last year, they held the Niners to 3.6 yards per carry. The year before, they held the Eagles to 2.6 yards per carry. They neutralized their run games entirely, and those were elite-level rushing offenses, and I do think that the Eagles' interior offensive line is a little bit vulnerable with the injury to Landon Dickerson, with Cam Jurgens and Mekhi Becton. I think Chris Jones is going to have a good matchup there. Just talk about the Chiefs' offense. I think what's been amazing this year, and you highlighted it about their run game not being good, is that they are one of the best ball control offenses in the NFL. And usually when teams control clock and they're able to dictate the pace of the game, it's because they're able to run the ball. Mahomes has the 3rd most pass attempts in the league this year. They've been able to control clock with their quick game passing game. Mahomes has the highest percentage of short passes in the NFL this season, and it's a byproduct of how defenses have been playing him over the years. But the toughest challenge is the Eagles. They're the only defense in the league this year that has generated a negative EPA per play when they generate zero pressure on the quarterback. This is a team that's front four can get after it, but even if they don't, their back end and their secondary is so elite. And Vic Fangio doesn't take many risks. He's not going to blitz. He's not going to put his players on islands. Like, they're going to play conservative. They're going to play with quarters coverage and cover 6 and really shrink the field for Mahomes and force him to dink and dunk his way down the field. And if they get the Chiefs into 3rd downs, that can be something that's very challenging for the Chiefs offense. Like, Mahomes, yes, he has beaten Vic Fangio, but that's been more so because the Broncos have been inept offensively. Their defense has always played really well against Mahomes, and it's a big reason why this game is going to be really challenging for the Chiefs offensively.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned the interior line part. Just going back to that, I think our interior offensive line has gotten worse. But if you notice, Saquon, a lot of his big runs are outside to the left, on the edges with Big Lane, Big Mulata leading the charge. Even sometimes Mekhi Becton on a little bit, not all the way to the end, but a little bit to the right. Yeah, doing his little thing, pushing somebody. I think this is a different beast, man. Like Mahomes is really the greatest we've ever seen.
He's a scary fuck.
He's literally their passing and rushing attack.
Yeah, like, I saw him in the Bills game. If nobody's open, he just break off a 15, 20-yard run. And thank God we have like guys like Zach Bond and shit, because I'm terrified of that type of stuff.
You know what's that the equivalent of? When Draymond Green hits a 3.
Dude,
when he takes off and gets a first down,
it's like
it's guaranteed.
I used to say last year or 2 years ago, I'm like, bro, if Draymond hits this 3, we're gonna win the game.
100%.
And 9 times out of 10, we win that game.
Yes.
You know, so it's like same effect, like where Mahomes, nobody's open, he has the tongue out, then he starts running. You're like, fuck, dude.
It's a
3rd and 9
bro,
turns into like
time.
first down. He didn't gain 15 yards. Now you're just like, here we go again. You know, but I think, like you mentioned, we don't send pressure too much. We really rely heavily on our 4 guys we put in rotation to kind of just get at the quarterback. And they've been one of the best in the business all season. You know, they've been Jalen Carter leading the charge. You have Nolan Smith. You have Milton Williams. Like, just even the rotational guys come in and they do a fine job. So it's like, it's beautiful that you have a defensive line that can plug in 5, 6, 7 guys that can always get pressure at any moment to where your secondary and your linebackers can do their thing, stay home. And I think you mentioned it, the Chiefs, you know, they make a play. I feel like in this playoffs, our defense has been able to have been making plays. You know, they've been able to get interceptions. They've been able to get key sacks, you know, put the team in tough 3rd downs, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13.
It's true.
But at the same time, we have not played Patrick Mahomes. That is, he's not no Jordan Love. He's not, you know, Matthew Stafford is not Patrick Mahomes, you know. Jaden Daniels is not Patrick Mahomes. Exactly.
Matthew Stafford was Mahomes before Mahomes. They don't talk about it enough.
No, Mahomes is a different breed. So I'm excited for the Vic Fangio versus Andy Reid contest. I really am, because like you mentioned, Vic Fangio was with your Denver Broncos. He was seeing Mahomes 2 times a year. So, you know, it's a bit of a little bit. It's a funny chess match where you know all your moves. It's just a different roster. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But I think right now, Fangio, he has, I don't want to say because I don't remember all your teams. So I don't know if we were a better defense, but our defense is pretty fucking nasty. So I'm pretty excited about the matchup.
I'm very worried about Jalen Carter's illness.
Me too, bro. The fact that he hasn't been at
There's a few guys I saw that have got illness like tags.
Jalen Carter, like, I think he has to play an A+ game for them to win.
He does.
And if he's dealing with an illness,
3-4 days.
No, I mean, yeah, for sure.
You better
he
lock
get better.
the fuck in. You better throw up on the field
that's
and then
already
come back
a hard interior offensive line to go up against. And I was wondering that, like, Joe Tooney, they're going to keep him at left tackle, but in this specific matchup, does it make more sense for him to slide back to guard just because of the Eagles' interior defensive line?
I don't know. Nolan has been playing excellent football. Either which way you shake it, I think you need some presence on the outside. I know Tooney definitely had a rough go about against the Texans. I think he played a lot better against Buffalo, but regardless, you need that presence on the outside. You have to trust Trey and Creed in the middle to protect against Jalen. It's going to be a tough matchup, but Nolan Smith has been playing excellent football. So much so that when we posted our Myles Garrett trade destinations and I said Philadelphia and you trade Nolan Smith, a lot of the comments said, I don't want to trade Nolan Smith. Yeah, it's Myles Garrett. You have to lock the fuck in.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
But it speaks to how much, one, Eagles fans love Nolan, but two, us knowing football and Nolan being as impactful as he's been over these last few games, he's going to have his impact. I think you need to keep Tooney on that outside.
Yeah, and he's been awesome against the run. That was a weakness out of college. Like, is he going to be too skinny to play the run? And he's been good rushing the passer and defending the run. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I think this game is about who makes less mistakes.
Didn't even break down the Chiefs' offense, man.
No, he did. Oh, you didn't.
Damn, bro.
But I think...
Look at the month.
Mahomes...
It's okay, bro.
I think
this, they give Josh MVP.
Game,
that's okay, though.
Whoever makes less mistakes. And I think Mahomes is going to make less mistakes than Jalen Hurts. And I don't have the utmost confidence that Hurts is going to play the best game.
Bro. I got you.
I do got
to break down the Chiefs' offense just a little bit here.
Get analytical, please.
It's not a lot of analytics here. I think the 2 biggest things for going on for Kansas City, number one, and it's a positive. I think it's 1 positive and 1 negative, is they just avoid negative plays like no one else, right? That was their first turnover against the Bills. What was it?
It was an accident too.
8 weeks was it? Like sometime
It
like
had nothing to
it
do
was
with the
like
Bills.
some game in like November was the last time they had a turnover, at least lost a turnover. The ability for them to not just avoid turnovers, but Mahomes avoiding sacks, avoiding negative plays, staying ahead of the sticks. It's honestly at a point where it's prime Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady, not even his prime, I should say, like later in his career when he was just so much smarter than everyone else, where he does not have to take deep shots down the field. He will easily take the tight end that's sitting right there in his face, and he'll take 4 yards on first down, get to 2nd and 6, and we could keep this rolling. His ability, Mahomes, in this offense, just to completely stay ahead of the sticks and never get into really any 3rd and long situations. And when he does, as we mentioned before, his ability with his legs, he's obviously not Lamar and Josh Allen, but as you said, it's backbreaking when he does that, because a lot of the time it is 3rd and 10 and he drops back and he almost has that Lamar quality. He drops back and takes like 10 steps and he reads the field, and then he finds the rushing lane. He's able to pick 10 to 15 yards because for whatever reason, defenses forget about his legs and they don't put a spy out there, or they're just so worried about covering Kelsey and Worthy down the field that they don't think about Mahomes. Hopefully Vic Fangio has some brighter ideas than that. But the other side, which I think is a big negative, is this rushing attack. To me, Kareem Hunt's the RB1 on this team. I think Isaiah Pacheco takes a backseat. We'll see next season, post a few months after the leg injury, if he's able to recover what he once was in terms of just having a bit more burst and speed and overall just power to his game. But having Kareem Hunt as your RB1 going up against this defense is going to be difficult. I do expect them to, pass more often on early downs to stay ahead of the sticks, because I do worry the only way you get into those 3rd and longs or 2nd and longs is if you are running on early downs, and Kareem Hunt's only picking up a yard or two. He's losing a yard or two, so now you're in 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 11. That's my really only concern when it comes to this Chiefs offense, because we know how great Mahomes is. We know how great this passing game is. It's been sensational, right? Whether it's against the Buffalo Bills in the biggest moments, against the Houston Texans, even though it was a bit of an uglier game, still able to pick up yards, still able to put up points. But Riv, they're not beating them twice, bro. I got the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, man. I think this is elite level defense that...
I know with Lamar not winning this MVP, you got to grab something.
I saw a graph. It was like Mahomes and Hurts swap teams, and who wins this?
We'd beat the shit out of them.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
we'd beat fire out of them.
What happens if the best quarterback goes on the better team? I wonder.
No, it's like the Eagles roster is just so stacked.
We beat
it is
fire out of them,
and listen, and a couple years ago when we were having those debates when it comes to the Eagles roster and the Chiefs roster, and you were over here going crazy, I don't think that's the case this year. I think the Eagles roster is pretty comfortably better than the Chiefs. Of course, a quarterback.
I'm willing to admit that.
If you want to take away quarterback, because Mahomes changes everything.
Clears.
He changes the entire equation. But take away quarterback, which is stupid. But in this scenario, take it away. The Eagles have basically better, damn near everything.
Chiefs
right?
just got coaching
defense,
staff
offense,
and quarterback.
But yeah, outside of like offensive mind when you have Andy Reid, but this roster is really fucking good. This defense is super elite. They've been able to bottle up basically everybody outside of like Jaden Daniels one time. The defense has been at such a high level, and offensively, I trust Saquon and I trust Jalen Hurts to be able to perform in the biggest moments. Saquon Barkley, as Riv mentioned, is having the best single season running back season of all time. He's going to break Terrell Davis's record.
He's better than
him. Let me ask you a question, because Drew right now is Drew, he doesn't know what to do. Let me ask you, Riv and Dels.
My mind has an answer. My heart doesn't.
If Saquon plays great, if Jalen Hurts plays great, how the fuck do the Eagles lose?
If Hurts plays well, if Saquon plays well, there's no way they lose.
That means the defense would have had to fold it like never before, bro.
Pretty much. They have to play their worst game of the season.
Because it would be like when we lost in 2022, it's literally the defense folding and that one fumble that literally cost us the game. And I get it was early in the game, but
it mattered.
They scored. And they won by 3.
For Philly, this is also a much more experienced coaching staff than it was in 2022.
For sure.
With Jonathan Gannon.
Our offense is better, though. Passing offense.
With Shane Steichen. It is. But
Vic Fangio's the
Vic Fangio, for sure, even though Kellen Moore is a downgrade in terms of Steichen, obviously has some more years under his belt. But really, Fangio's what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
I've been said Vic Fangio.
He's been one of the best defensive minds forever.
Do things to him that no woman will.